All right, we got Glenda on here. Awesome. And Lene, it looks like. Hopefully I said your name right. Very good. So guys, hey, before we get started, just let me know where you're calling in on the call-in show with Craig. This is going to be a lot of fun. I like to use that little phrase, the call-in show with Craig. Where are you calling in from? First-time callers, long-time listeners. That's amazing. Awesome to have you here. We have me, myself, and I, and Jamie from New Zealand is joining on here. We have people in Luxembourg. We have people in Holland. We have people in Toronto. And Mark, I would say definitely partner with the affiliates on their products and go hardcore on the video platforms to generate people back to your world. You know, we were just talking. Well, you really dug into and believed in our courses when you started watching the YouTube videos. So you can see it's great to have the written word and it attracts people, but that trust level goes through the roof when you have video. And I've experienced that in the fitness space. We have over 15 million views of our videos on my original YouTube channel. And now we're doing obviously the video on Instagram and YouTube and all that all over the place. So I love talking about that stuff, but that is not the topic of tonight. So we do need to, we'll switch our little topic of the evening over to the Ballantyne method. So I'm very grateful that everybody's here to learn about the Ballantyne method, which is a couple of parts that will help you double your income and work less and live the perfect life. It really is doing this for me. I was just telling a friend last night at dinner that I work about 30 hours a week now, which was unimaginable when I was in the fitness space, working probably 60 hours a week and writing email copy until my eyes were so sore that I could barely look at a computer screen anymore. But you know what? So what? I had to go and keep on doing it because that was just the nature of that beast. Now I'm in a much better space. I've designed my business around to support my life. And that's what I want to help you do as well. So super excited to have you here. Just drop, if you're new, if you're just getting on here, just drop your name and where you're calling in from in the chat box there. It's really going to be awesome. And the cool thing is we're just going to be giving you information tonight. We're not here to sell you anything. We're just here to tell you about what worked for me, what worked for a couple of my top clients, and what you can take away to start making and getting results in your business, whether you're like Frank, who is just starting, whether you're like Mark, who's a little further down the road, or you're like Justin, who's on here and he's very, very successful. Glenda's kind of in the middle there. She's in St. Pete, Florida, and you know, she's growing her business as well. And I'm going to teach you and kind of take you through my hero's journey of how I went through what I call the entrepreneurial ladder. So that is something that I want to share with you tonight. And it takes you through how I really had some hard times that were self-induced. There certainly shouldn't be any, sympathy for me, but I had some self-induced issues as I was going through the entrepreneurial ladder. And there's 5 stages in this entrepreneurial ladder that I want to share with you tonight. There's a daydreamer, lost warrior, business battler, empire builder, which is where I've gotten myself to today, and then the Titan. So I've hit all of these levels except for the Titan. There's very few people that have. But I want to tell you that it was when I got to that lost warrior phase that, this was years after I was the dreamer of, I'm going to become a millionaire. And when I was in college and as a personal trainer, and then I went on to have a little bit of online business. But then I started working too many hours. And when I talked about the Lost Warrior at the Perfect Life Retreat in November, if you were there, just, drop a little comment in the chat section. It was our best ever event. And afterwards, after my speaking engagements there, I had so many people at lunchtime just saying, Craig, I resonated so much with that term, the Lost Warrior, because, and I'm going to explain this in much, much greater detail later on. That's where I think 80% of the people on this call tonight are going to be dealing with that Lost Warrior syndrome. It's probably not a lot of daydreamers. And there might be an empire builder or two. I think Justin is at a really high level, but for most of us, we are stuck in that Lost Warrior thing. So I don't know exactly what brought you here to the call tonight, but I do know that you're here because something just isn't working well enough. And I have been there, and I have been at the level where I was working too many hours and struggling to make time for my personal life. Maybe you're struggling to make time for your kids, or maybe you're struggling just to be present for your kids, or maybe you're struggling to build effective systems in your business and missing out on those proven strategies that we use now to get more leads and close more deals so that you can consistently increase your revenue every month. And if you can consistently increase your revenue every month, then you can have more profit in the business. So you're not working as much. You're not frustrated. You're not sitting around the table till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night like I once was. And I remember I was doing this back in Denver, Colorado. That was when I was working as much as ever. And that was when I was in the business battler stage. So I'm going to go through and talk about those 5 stages. You know, eventually you want to get to this, looks like the empire builder right here. But I'm going to walk you through these 5 stages. The first one is the daydreamer. Chances are most of you do not fall into this category. The daydreamer, well, first of all, you do not want to be in this category because it's someone who lacks the discipline to take action on their big goals and dreams. And it might be someone who currently is just accumulating information, whether they're buying books and courses. I remember when I was in this daydreamer thing, I was that person who bought the courses. And this is back in the day because what I'm about to say will give my age away, but I bought them and never took them out of the plastic wrap. There are multiple courses that I bought. I no longer have. I was too ashamed to keep them in the plastic wrap. But I just always was bouncing from one thing to the other. And I'm a little bit like that today too, because I buy way too many Amazon books. So I'm a daydreamer about how many Amazon books I can get through. Sometimes I joke that I live in a house made of books because that's all I would need. I've bought so many books from Amazon. I could just take away my walls and use books. But there's the daydreamer is the person who's just simply not willing to take consistent action. And so they do bounce from that one thing to the next. And almost they become a slave to their dream. And it's unfortunate. It really actually breaks my heart because they have a lot of great ideas and strategies. And they really do have the energy, but they don't have the discipline to follow through on them. And so we see the daydreamer as a younger type person, or sometimes when we see somebody making that career change. Now, next up, we have the Lost Warrior. And so the Lost Warrior, this is such a great picture here because this person is probably like you. You're willing to do the work. And it's the most common archetype that entrepreneurs get stuck in. You're willing to do the work, but you don't know which way you should do the work in. And if you want to use an analogy, because I've been there, I've been that Lost Warrior. It's like trying to go from Denver to California through New York City, which if anybody knows the geography of America, that'd be a bad idea because Denver's in the middle of the country, California's on the West Coast. And if you went east to get there, it's the long way around. Now, here's the thing is that the Lost Warrior almost takes a lot of pride in the amount of discipline that they have. They're willing to work, they're able to work, and that's what I was working until 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night from 6 in the morning back in Denver, Colorado, when I was really a Lost Warrior. And also around the time of my anxiety attacks when I was really the Lost Warrior, because I was working all the working hours and then I was staying up for the rest of the hours and going out too much. But the problem is, as a Lost Warrior, when you have a business, oftentimes you come from a job or you come from a blue collar background and you're willing to work hard and you put everything on your back and you suffer in silence and you end up in a lot of trouble. So Bedros Keuilian, my friend, he was in that situation. He ended up doing all of the work. He was passive aggressive as a boss. He was not willing to let go. He was not willing to ask for help, and he suffered in silence. And he had his own anxiety attacks before I finally gave him the clarity and discipline that he talks about. If you've read his book, it is exactly page 54 in Man Up, where he talks about everything that I downloaded into him so that he could have the clarity on what to do next, which then allowed him to explode his Fit Body Bootcamp franchise into 8 figures and much, much more. Now, as a result, if you are a Lost Warrior, if you're saying, yes, I am the type of person who works a lot and I work a lot because I don't know exactly what I should be doing, well, you're going to burn yourself out working crazy hours because you just don't have that clear picture of what you're working for. And you waste a lot of time doing stuff that shouldn't be done at all. You waste a lot of time on $10 an hour tasks because you're not clear on what you want your business or life to look like. And I really, really resonate with the Lost Warrior. So many gym owners from my past, career when I was in that industry so many people in the restaurant world, so many real estate agents too, so many authors, so many info course creators, because the work is never done. And if you're not doing the right work and you don't have the right plan, you'll always feel like the work is never done. So I want to make sure that we take care of you tonight so that you don't feel that way anymore. Now, the next thing that we have, this is the business battler. So I actually, earlier today, I was describing the lost warrior as being like a horse caught in quicksand, right? So the horse caught in quicksand, they work really hard to try and get out. But when you work really hard to try and get out of quicksand, it only makes it worse. Now, the business battler is not stuck in that predicament. They're more like a horse climbing a very, very, very steep incline. And they're working so hard, but they are making progress. You are making progress. You're, from one year to the next, your revenue grows by maybe $100,000. And you know what? $100,000 is no joke, even in this day and age. And so you are having progress, but dang, does it not feel like it should be coming faster, right? So the business battler has a really good idea of what they want out of life and business, and they're willing to work hard, and they have a little bit of clarity. But the biggest challenge that they don't have is the exact strategy that will really vault them up to the top, okay? They see all these other entrepreneurs who are at the top of the mountain, and they're climbing up this steep rock face, and they wonder, what the heck, how did those people get up there? And it's because the other people, the empire builders who you're going to meet next, have a proven system to get more done in less time, make more sales with less work, and they build that thriving team. And that right there is one of the secrets, okay? If you don't have a thriving team, if you're doing everything yourself, if you're suffering in silence, if you're putting it all your back, if you are like, here's another analogy for you. So if you are a fan of the movie The Green Mile with Michael Clark Duncan, do you remember his character? He was the big gentleman, and he took everybody's pain and he swallowed it inside, right? And when you're a business battler, when you are a lost warrior, you are taking all of the pain and you're keeping it inside because you suffer in silence. And that manifests itself in anxiety, like it did for myself and Bedros, depression, like it has for some of my other friends. Some people that have come to me for coaching are suffering from depression when they come. And it's oftentimes because they suffer in silence. They don't have the team that they are willing to delegate to and ask for help. So we're going to talk about helping you get 10 more hours a week so that you can have some escape velocity to get out of this business battler area. Now, once someone has the discipline, clarity, and structure, they reach this next magic level of being an empire builder. Empire builder has a team. Empire builder has exact clarity on where they want to go, on what they need to do next, and they have the systems, strategy, and discipline in order to follow through. And they follow through not just on their own hard work. It's not like they're following through 12, 14 hours a day. They're following through and working less than the business battler, probably half the time as the lost warrior. And they have the clarity on exactly what their vision is and the discipline to execute. And they take massive action because they're following a proven strategy. And if you have a proven strategy, then there's no leakage in your system. So right now, if you're in that business battler or lost warrior phase, you're working so much, but it's not efficient work. And all that blood, sweat, and tears just leaking out and not actually getting put behind anything. So you're not able to build that foundation. Now there's hope. So there is hope for all of us to get to the empire builder level and achieve results twice as fast, 5 times as fast, sometimes 10 times as fast as you ever have in your life. So I really, really want to help you there. We have a couple clients, Chase and Josh, who are building a LinkedIn business, and they went from never making more than, I don't think, $5,000 a month to having a $55,000 a month. So you can 10X. One of the people that you'll meet tonight, a guy named Frank Dan Blanken, he went from $10,000 a month to $220,000 a month in 9 months. It really is possible when you have the right strategy in place. So the next thing after this, after the empire builder, is the Titan. I don't think Elon is on this PowerPoint tonight or this webinar. We have 17 people here, but Elon probably not one of them. And there's only a few Titans in this world, but they are doing amazing things. Now, aside from the Titan level, I have at one point been in every single one of the categories that I've shared with you. In my early 20s, I was the daydreamer. I was still in school until I was 25 years old, just because of the Canadian educational system and my decision to get a master's degree in exercise physiology. And I thought, oh, I was going to be a famous strength and conditioning coach and this, that, and the other thing. And none of that worked out, which is actually good because I'm in a better position now. But I also had this dream to start an online business and control my income, but I didn't have the discipline to take action. You know, I was the Thursday, Friday, Saturday night guy at the bar and the pubs and all that sort of stuff. And just felt like the years were passing me by when I was in college and then as a personal trainer. Fortunately, I had some lucky breaks. I stumbled across some mentors that shared, there's this one manual I bought from a guy named Bob Serling. I can't find it anywhere online right now, but he taught me this one little thing about the value ladder in there. And I read that book. Every time I read that book, I made an extra $5,000, which was a lot of money to me at the time. And that kind of gave me, I love the phrase escape velocity. So you might hear me use it a couple of times tonight, but I had that escape velocity and allowed me to go from daydreamer to all of a sudden, now I was up in that lost warrior phase. Well, now, great, I'm making some money, but I'm working so much. And it was because we were talking to Mark on the pre-chat here before we got started. And Mark was asking me a few questions about his routine and, sticking to it. And in order to stick to my routine, I actually became very extreme in my early 30s to overcome my lazy and undisciplined tendencies, actually in my late 20s. And I built my first six-figure business, but I became super disciplined working a lot, but not necessarily in living a great life. And then I was working a lot and partying a lot, and that's when I had the anxiety attacks. Fortunately, there was a big shift in my life at the same time. And it was something that helped me overcome the anxiety, helped me overcome being a lost warrior, helped me overcome my money troubles, and it was hiring a coach. So I had my first mentor at age 30. And whenever I tell people about hiring a mentor, what I say to them is I was looking for somebody who had been there and done that, achieved what I want to achieve. And a lot of people come to me saying, Craig, I love your success in all these industries and also in these personal habits and the way you live your life. And because I've achieved what they want to achieve, we have a great rapport right away. So many people coming through Instagram, they see my videos and that sort of stuff. So when I hire a coach, first of all, what I want to see is someone who's been there and done that, and achieved what I want to achieve. Second is someone who shares my morals and ethics, because someone can have money but not have morals and ethics, and they're going to make you do things that are going to make your stomach feel bad. And I don't want that. I never, ever teach any of those things that make you do that. But there's certainly lots of coaches out there or programs out there that can give you a bad feeling. I didn't want that. And the third thing is that you should have great rapport with them and also be able to say, hey, listen, I've heard you talk about Frank. Would you mind introducing me to Frank? And I would like to ask him questions. And people send Frank Dan Blanken questions on Instagram all the time, or Vince Del Monte, or Xander Fryer, or any of the people that I've worked with for years now. I always introduce them. I always want you to check your references and get to meet them. And that's what I was able to do when I was hiring my first coach, who helped me grow my first seven-figure business. And then I moved into when I was jumping around that lost warrior business battler phase and having the anxiety attacks that sent me to the emergency room twice. So yeah, I was doing well, but there was still so much more. And I think that's kind of a common theme for everybody here tonight. There's always so much more. There's always a little more in life. And at the time, even with Tom's help, Tom was my first coach, I was stressed. I was working too many hours. I was burnt out. I was trying to do everything myself. I had no idea how to effectively delegate, build a team. I didn't know how to recruit. I didn't understand that in order to get people on your team, you had to do more than get 3 resumes in and find a superstar from 3 resumes. Now we do such an extensive search through our own network. I really believe that simply hiring from within, from your customer base, is one of the best ways. That's what we did with our friend Ron Mora, who you may have met along the way, maybe on a call with Ron. You have an opportunity to jump on a call with Ron at the end of this. He's going to happily answer any of your questions and give you a little bit of coaching for free. And you'll get to meet Ron, who came from within our organization. And that's one of the things that we teach people when you're building a winning team, because if you get somebody from within your world, they know your culture, and you don't have to try and instill in them a value system. No, if they're your clients, they're going to have the same values. Like everyone on this call is going to share so many of the same values with me because we resonate and we connect, and we've connected through our Facebook group. And then in addition to building the team, it was also creating the systems. And if you've gone through any of my material, you've seen kind of an overview of the system. We dive really deep in the systems to make you 10 hours per week, to make you more productive in your magic time. And we can really dive deeper and deeper and deeper so that you become a high performer in there. Now, using the method, the Ballantyne method, I know you're like, really, you named a method with your own name? And it's like, we couldn't come up with anything else. And it was really so unique and original to us because there's 3 parts to the Ballantyne method that have allowed me to become the empire builder. Because for so long, I was really grinding it out. In the last couple of years, I've had an epiphany, breakthroughs, and now making more and working less and just totally in control of my life because I was so committed to finding the key. And what I achieved was clarity, discipline, and strategy. Okay, so those 3 things, you can imagine 3 circles overlapping one another. You have clarity first because you have to have that North Star. Then you have discipline to execute on it. And once you have the discipline and the clarity, now you can build the exact step-by-step strategy. I built one that I needed. You're going to build one that you need. And that will put you on pace for whether it's your first 6 figures or whether it's going to be you hitting 7 figures or more. Today, I have 4 7-figure businesses, all generating over 7. One's getting close to 8, all while working. Well, in the last couple of weeks, I've only done about 30 hours a week because I built the thriving team, the thriving systems. So I have more freedom than ever before. I take a few weeks off to go to Europe, spend a few, probably 6 weeks in California every year, and then bouncing all over my beloved North America. So there's a lot of great places I get to go to. And sometimes I'll work a couple of hours on those trips in the morning. Most of the time, I am able to kind of have my command center, have my team going and growing. And so I'm super excited. So before we get started into the teaching, I want you to think about where you fall in this ladder, okay? So you got the daydreamer, really hoping you're not there. Lost warrior, kind of expecting a lot of people to raise their hand on that one. And you can just type it in the chat. I'd be very curious to hear, how do you resonate and associate yourself there? Lost warrior, David's a lost warrior. I totally agree. I had a guy named Mark at the Perfect Life Retreat came up and poured his heart out to me as a lost warrior. Anybody here an empire builder? Glenda's a lost warrior on the way to business builder. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So we got lost warrior from Frank. Yeah, so that term is just like, yes, I'm willing to work hard. I do work hard. I just need a little bit of guidance to get to the next level. Mark is also the lost warrior. So thank you for sharing, everyone. I really appreciate it. Now, what I want you to think about is, well, what if you could go from lost warrior to business battler? Or what if you could go from business battler to empire builder? Like those levels, it's not like just a 10% increase. It is a dramatic, dramatic change. And what I want to do is really help you have some breakthroughs that allow you to go there and do that. So no more daydreaming as we have there in the left. No more getting punched in the face. Eventually we want to get you up to that empire builder level, because if you think about, making that leap from one level to the next, you're going to possibly 10x your income. You're definitely going to have 10x over your clarity and vision. And we spend a lot of time creating the vision, and then we break it down to exactly what you're going to do in 90 days, 30 days, and 24 hours. So that you align every action with your ultimate purpose. And if you had that, just think of the strategy that you'd be able to put in place. You'd be able to see so far ahead. You'd be able to know the exact next step. And that is why we have had people in so many industries, from photography, online courses, salespeople in multiple industries, whether it's real estate or whether it was phone sales. All of these people have been able to have that big breakthrough and jump ahead. So Mark had this question on the team building. You mentioned, what does a typical day look like and what do you delegate? So for me, it's very much like what I talked in the Perfect Day Formula. Perfect Day Formula, even though my hours have shifted a little bit, I'm not up at 4 a.m. anymore because I do a little bit of stuff in the evenings for people on the West Coast. And so I stay up a little bit later now, but I'm still up and getting quality work, mindful work with no electronics first thing in the morning. And for me, I've gone from a bit of a maker's schedule to a manager's schedule, where I am thinking about my meetings with team members and planning that stuff out, and planning out my coaching calls, and really, but still without electronics to get that thinking. Most of the writing in our business is now done by a team. So I coached one team member up to be an amazing writer in my voice. Most of the emails that you get are from him. And then he's gone on to coach 3 people to write in my voice. So we've become a content factory. I obviously make my own videos. I get help on the scripts for the videos. And then I spend the afternoons coaching people, coaching my highest level clients, people who have 10, 20 million dollar businesses. And then also doing our trainings like this one for people that have not yet become part of our coaching programs, but also for people that are in our Ballantyne method coaching program, our online course, all the great stuff. And then we have additional coaches who I coach, so that I'm leveraging my time. And that's where everybody wants to get to, is the empire builder. Because if you had a team that could do the work for you, the analogy that I use these days, we got the All Blacks here, so for those people that we have a global audience. And so some people recognize the rugby players. I like to use the analogy of a basketball team, because when you think of a guy like Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever. And he is now the owner of a team in the league. Now, Michael Jordan can go on the court and he could probably still school some 20-year-olds, but it doesn't matter, because even if Michael Jordan put on the uniform, stepped on the court, scored some points, none of those points count, because he's only in the coach and owner role now. He has to go and recruit players, lift them up, and do that, and coach them up to the next level. So Michael Jordan cannot score points. And it's the same with me in my business. I have a team doing the work, team with the culture, and the team coming together. And so it's running meetings, which is something that I do now, which actually gets me more results. And so if anybody's read The Perfect Week Formula, I didn't write that book. I gave a couple of audios and told some stories to Austin, whose name is on the book, and he wrote the book, and it saved me hundreds of hours of time. It was still a faster process between the two of us compared to my 2 previous books. And we got that book out, and 90% of people say it's our best book yet. So just imagine if you're able to lift your team up, and even if your team is you and a virtual assistant for 10 hours a week and somebody who edits video 2 hours a week, you still have to lift all those people up. And when you do, then your growth will start to accelerate. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. I've seen this time and time again. And just think of what that does for your bank account. So instead of just one person working for your business, now you have 5, now you have 10, now you have 20 people working for your business, and your bank account grows. And because you have all these people working for your business and you're working on the business, you're no longer working in the business and doing everything, which then allows you to have more results in less time. And that's exactly what we did for the success stories I want to share with you now. So Danny Lair on the left runs a company called Caffeine and Kilos. Frank Denblanken is an online coach. And then Isabel de los Rios is an online course creator. Now I have clients in everything from plumbing. We have a guy in our mastermind who has a $10 million plumbing business. I have a guy who manufactures ocean degradable straws. He has a $20 million business. I have a client named Scott who has a company that has a robotics team that cleans oil tankers in trains. So train cars, all these things. And I own multiple gyms, and I do the online coaching, and I write books, and I do speaking, and so many of my other clients do this. So don't sit there and think, oh, well, my business is not represented by one of these folks, or, they look like they're 2 years older than me or 2 years younger than me, or they have 1.7 dogs and I only have 1.36 dogs. It's, we can always find somebody or some reason to say that won't work for me. But I encourage you, I'll just say one quick thing on this before I launch into Danny's story, is that if you look at my most critical review for the Perfect Day Formula on Amazon, you will find it from a woman with 1 child, a married woman with 1 child. And then if you look for my most positive 5-star review, it is from a woman, a single woman with 3 kids. And it's simply a matter of perspective. Now, when you have, as an empire builder, you have someone who is the discipline, clarity, and structure, that's where you want to be. And that's who you're going to meet in a second. And they have everything to go and achieve great results. So if you've come to this fork in the road of, am I ready to scale the business, or what should I do next? And you don't know which path to take. Well, listen, we're going to help you through that. You're a top performer. That's why you're here today. You're one of the best in the world at what you do, whether it's, Frank is in computer technology and he's in software and he's creating his first code, or whether you have some people in here who are coaches, some people are sales experts. We have real estate experts, a real estate expert in David in one of the most competitive markets in the world. Listen, you got here doing great things, but this quote that I do love, what got you here won't get you there, won't get you to the next level. So in the rest of the webinar, what I'm going to show you is how my top clients regularly are doubling their income every year while working fewer hours. And then you have like outliers like Frank who have 22x'd in his first year. And even then he is likely to 10x his income again this year. Once you have like the ball rolling and you have, again, this is a term that I use, escape velocity, you have the snowball of success rolling, you have the momentum working for you. It is unbelievable what you can achieve when you have everything going for you. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to replicate the results and achieve an incredible amount of success in your business. Now it comes down to start with. Remember I talked about the 3 circles of the Ballantyne method. The first one is clarity. If you don't have clarity, if you don't have the North Star, you can be the hardest worker, but you're going to go in the wrong direction and you end up the lost warrior. So Isabel came to me in 2009. 2009, she was a nutrition expert at the time. She had no money to pay for coaching, and yet she joined back then it was $10,000 a year to join my mastermind group. And fortunately, her husband worked in finance in New York and was able to put it on his card. Today, he's happily retired and they live in South Carolina, and she has an 8-figure online business, and she is just absolutely so successful, able to work from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m., homeschool her kids. And, she's very faith-based. So that is something she spends a lot of time with, does a lot of Bible study, and they drive a long way to church on Sunday. And it's all because she got clarity on what she wanted. And I asked her this really powerful 10x question, which is, what's God's plan for you, Isabel? Because she became complacent like some of us do when we get a little bit of success. And she was lost in the weeds. She didn't have clarity and didn't really know to focus on the right opportunities. And she's like, why am I working so hard, Craig? And I said, well, yeah, you do have everything that you want, Isabel, but it's not about you. And I asked her that 10x question, and it really changed her life. So if you were to, get that one question that we could possibly give you to give you the clarity so that you can be done at 2:00 in the afternoon. And she doesn't work Saturdays, so that clock there is wrong. She's done at 2:00 as it says on the clock there, but she doesn't work Saturdays. And that one example, that one question that we put in here is, what is God's 10x plan for you? If you're not religious, this isn't a religious question. I don't mean to make it out that way. What's the universe's 10x plan for you? What were you put here to do that you are not achieving? Where are you acting too slow and too small? And when you think about where you are right now and you ask those questions, it gives you great clarity, because now you see, well, I'm not meant to just write one book, or I'm not meant to just have one gym, or even to own a gym at all, because I only help 150 people in the gym. But if I went online, or if I franchised, or whatever it was that you want to do, well, you would help exponentially more people. So listen, I know what it's like to not have clarity, to be bouncing around like a pinball. And when you bounce around like a pinball, it's because you have too many opportunities. In most cases, we have first world problems, let's be honest, and you don't know what to do next. But imagine if you had that clear path, you had the exact step-by-step blueprint, because you were so clear on where you wanted to go, not just in your professional life, like making $1 million or $1.5 million or 10 million or whatever it is that you need to make, but where you wanted to live and who you wanted to spend your time with and what you wanted to do. Now, what would it be like if you didn't have to wonder about those opportunities and you simply knew with complete certainty that you were on that exact path? That, for so many people, like everybody thinks they need a Facebook ad, but no, what they need is clarity. What they need is clarity. And how do you shift your focus on strategic approaches, as Mark asked? Well, it's simply asking the right questions. And so when people work with me, I have, have my Perfect Life workshops, which are, a very big investment. It's a full day, and people often have to travel from one country to another. And we spend all day on this. Fortunately, I also have this on video for our online course as well, so that anybody can go through this anywhere, anytime. And it's what helped Ron Mura, who has, he hasn't 10x, but he's doubled his business, and he works far fewer hours, and he has a much greater freedom because he goes through all the vision exercises every year, and it's super, super powerful. So it's a great question there. Now, the next thing that I wanted to get into and teach here is that there's another fork in the road, that if you a person who is working a lot and not having the big breakthroughs, and you're working a lot and you're not being present with your family, there's one thing to work a lot and not have the money, but there's another thing to work so much and lose that time, because you cannot get that time back. And if you pay attention to the news, you've heard about, we lost some people who were too young, and you never know. And so time is far more valuable than money. And right now, as a lost warrior, you have that choice. You can continue being that lost warrior. You continue working yourself and grinding yourself into the ground, grinding yourself into dust, or by working and working out so much, not so much the working out, but the working to the brink of burnout. Because listen, there's just so much stuff you could be doing. There's 19 different social medias you could be spending your time on. There's 150 places you could submit articles. And dang, you could really end up working too much if you don't have a clear path and you don't have clear systems that allow you to get more done. We have simplified my business, and we simplify again and again and again. And I love this quote from Bruce Lee. It's not about the daily increase, but about the daily decrease. Hack away at the unessential. And you might think, oh, but there's so many things to do. And it's, in most cases, it's not the truth. There's fewer things to do them better. And when you have that clarity, that's when you're going to start to move ahead in the business. So again, clarity is such a huge part of the puzzle. It's one piece of the path. And if you want to double your income, you definitely have to have that in place. So let me tell you about Danny. Danny was a lost warrior. He's climbed out of that now. He's not an empire builder yet, but he's absolutely had huge results in the last couple of years because of building his team, because of implementing systems when he's at home so that he's present. And, you raise your hand and say, yeah, I feel this way, or I felt this way in the chat there. If you've ever felt like you were thinking about work when you were with your family, and you were thinking about your family when you were at work, and it was like you were never thinking about work, or you almost feel like you're never thinking about work when you're at work, and you never feel like you're focused and present with your family when you're with your family, because you're always thinking about the other thing. And it is so, so common. And I have asked this to people that have $100 million businesses, and Ishan, raised his hand on this one, and it's very, very common. Nothing to be ashamed of, because you're a good person when you're a lost warrior. Like, that's the thing, is the lost warriors are such good-hearted people, because all they want to do is go out and help others. And so Danny operated a structure where he, open door policy, taking questions from his team at any time of the day, answering every single phone call, going and talking to clients. And the next thing you know is it was a day full of activity. Now, there was a very busy day, but no accomplishment. And when he went home, he felt like the lost warrior, not able to break through to multi 7 figures. And now, because leveraging team, very good systems and processes, separating work life and home life, having me coach him through some very difficult conversations in his business with his partner and with his teams. And that's where he went from feeling like he was being pulled in multiple directions to just having focus, where he was able to move ahead. Because at one time he felt like he was a ticking time bomb, that his relationship with his wife was struggling, and his kids. And he thought, you know what, if I'm not present with my kids, even though I'm right in front of them, but I'm on my phone all the time, I'm going to end up in a lot of trouble. Now, Danny knew he couldn't keep doing what he'd always done. He knew that the unstructured lifestyle was going to cause an implosion in his life. And so he decided to get the clarity on his values and his vision. And then when he had the clarity, he already had the discipline. Now he was able to put in place the strategy, because this, a lot of my clients have a lot of discipline because they're from a fitness background. They're gym owners, they're online coaches. Danny's a gym owner and has a coffee company. I've had people who, even if they're not in the fitness industry, I attract a lot of fitness minded people, people who like to exercise, people who do triathlons, bodybuilding, highly competitive sports, whatever it is. I attract those types of people. And so it's never an issue of working hard. It's an issue of working smart. So when Danny came to me for help, he already had some pretty good clarity on what he wanted the business to do, but he didn't have clarity around his family side of things. And he lacked that proven structure. So we put that into place. And if you've read the Perfect Week formula, you hear me talk about Danny's bumpers and boundaries, because I really saved his home life more than anything else. And once you save the home life, then you have less clutter in your head when you're trying to grow the business. And by fixing the home life, it actually made him more money. And when you make more money, then it fixes the home life a little more. And it's such a virtuous cycle. Now, one of the things that I taught him was to really dominate the mornings, my farm boy morning routine. And then I also helped him with this phone bed. So you see this phone bed in front of us, and there's phones in there. Now, when Danny came home from work, he was on his phone and not present with his kids. And he felt like he was spending hours that way. And so I said to Danny, when you go home and your daughter greets you at the door, you say, hey, we're going to put daddy's phone in the phone bed. And that's what you do. And then he left the phone and he went and he was present with his daughter for 20, 30 minutes. And then she was ready to go do something else. And now he was able to go and catch up on some email and then be present with the family again. And it was actually saved him time, saved him stress, allowed him to be a better father. And he's had huge breakthroughs. And it's simply re-engineering lives that allow us to have huge breakthroughs by doing simple stuff like that. So today, growing his business rapidly and just having those big breakthroughs. So now, if we want to make it personal, if we want to take an action step away, and I know you're an action taker and you're already the hardworking, disciplined person, you're not that dreamer, and you resonate with the concept of the business battler. Building that 7x7 grid that we talked about in the Perfect Week formula, identifying your magic time in the morning, identifying your cutoff time in the evening. And basically the way that I describe this is once you know your magic time and your wake up time and the time you're going to start work and the time you're going to finish your work and go through the 3-step cutoff plan, brain dump, the to-do list at night, and then the process planning for the next day, which are absolute game changers in getting things done. Well, now you've basically built a box. You've built a box and you are left with 30 hours, 35 hours, maybe 42.5 hours, whatever it is. And you have to fit your business and success in those hours, in that box of hours. And that means, well, now you're going to start to cut the fluff. You're going to stop doing things. You're going to say, you know what? We're not having any traction on YouTube. It's probably better off if I just shut YouTube down and didn't bother with it. I have a client in our Empire Mastermind group. They pay $50,000 a year to be in that. And this woman came to me for all this Instagram help. And I said, you don't like Instagram. You're not consistent with it. You're not having any traction with it now. You're spending 3 to 5 hours on it per week. And yet you have all of these other things that are generating clients. What if you stopped Instagram and put those 3 to 5 hours into your webinar funnel and your Facebook ads? You would get exponentially more clients doing that, and you'd be less frustrated. So oftentimes I love telling people to stop doing things that are not working and focus more on the things that are. And when you do that, you start to get more results, because if you're working your fingers to the bone, as many lost warriors are, and even the business battlers are, throwing stuff up at the wall, hoping things stick, you're going to suffer in silence. And the more you push it down, like for Bedros and myself, the greater it is going to explode. So I do not want that to happen to you. What we do is we really help you. We give you this choice to help you get more productivity from your day. Yeah. Frank has a good point here. So, you can't see the forest because of the trees. When people are working in the business, right? Working in the business, if you're working in the business, working on these minor problems, then you can never see the big opportunities. So as I mentioned before, when you structure your days for maximum productivity, you're doing your to-do list the night before. If you're doing your to-do list in the morning, you're already too late, because in the morning you have your greatest willpower, discipline, and intention. And if you have clarity on what to do first thing in the morning, you give yourself 45 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. You get 90 minutes of uninterrupted time on your number one priority in life. You're going to leave your competition in the dust because they're waking up reactive, late for work, checking their email, checking their Instagram. They get to work. They're buried in fires and emergencies. And you've already had 90 minutes of clear, uninterrupted focus before they get into the office. You're going to eat their lunch every single day, and you're going to rapidly increase your income, grow your business without working crazy hours. Okay. So you're going to have big, big, big success there. So what we're going to do is deconstruct here. So this is deconstructed sushi in front of us. We're going to deconstruct not sushi, but Frank Van Blanken, my most successful client. We're going to see what worked for him. How did he go from in 2018, when he came to my workshop in Frankfurt, Germany? He paid almost $10,000 to come to that workshop, 5 people in the room. And that day was a life changer for Frank, because at that time he's making $10,000 a month, which is, better than working a job, but he was working 15 hours a day. So his revenue was great. His personal income was great, but he was working so much. And so he was a lost warrior at the time, working too much, moving on to business Fowler thing. But this guy is really smart. And so he went through the 10X questions, and we went through cutting out things from his life. We removed what he was getting positive reinforcement on that didn't serve him. There's a lot of things that people are doing that do not serve you. And he was given the opportunity to say no to tasks and activities, stop working those 100 hours a week and wasting dozens of hours on useless projects. I just basically, I chopped things away. I was like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And I left him with only the most important thing in his business. And that was in July. By January, he had a $100,000 a month. And in March, he had a $200,000 a month. And actually, he had more than that because he was making his money in euros, and it's a little bit, the translation is a little bit higher. So he was making great money. And now he's had so many opportunities come from that he's going to make even more money. Now, here's the thing. He came to me because he knew he couldn't keep on burning the candles at both ends. Okay. He was really going to burn out, even though he's a fitness expert, nutrition expert. Man, he knew that he had to make a change. And after seeing all the other people that I work with, like Joel Marion, who Frank and Joel have a lot of similarities, and Vince Del Monte, who works less than he used to, and Isabel, and then a woman named Shanda Sumpter, who is super successful in the female coaching space. She has thousands of people at her events. She also came to me, much like Isabel, working too much, not enough time for her kids. And now Shanda also works from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. every day. And her business is growing and growing and growing because she's working on it, not in it, and has built up a team using a lot of the recruiting, hiring, managing, weekly meeting strategies that we teach in our programs. We just had a guy last week join the program, coaching program, a guy named Peter Kell, and he runs a Facebook ads company. And in 4 days, he gave me one of the most glowing testimonials. So after one coaching call, 30-minute call with Peter, and I gave him the exact meeting structure to use. And within 4 days, his team is all over the world. He has people in America and in Australia, and they meet virtually at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's the only time that works. And he said, by doing those meetings 4 days per week, man, his team in just those 4 days has seen massive, massive improvements. So I love teaching that, because so many people think they just need a new Facebook ad or they need copywriting or whatever, but there's so much more to running a business, not being a solopreneur and grinding yourself into the ground. So this has been a lot of fun to help these 3 people. They're more than just clients. They're absolute dear friends of mine. And, I've known Isabel since 2009, Frank not so long, and then Danny probably in the middle there. And it's just been awesome to see them have more time for their families. And when you are making a couple $100,000 a month, you are clearly impacting a lot more people. And Frank was able to do this working 10 to 20 few hours per week. So he helps pretty much everybody in the Netherlands. Pretty much everybody there has bought one of his programs. He's making all that money in Dutch only. So think about this. What would it do for your life if you could get a tune-up for your clarity, discipline, and strategy like Frank did, okay? if you could take them from where they are now, like if you were to rank yourself on clarity, discipline, and strategy, maybe you'd give yourself a 7, a 6, and a 5, or maybe your clarity is like a 2, but your discipline's a 10. But that just means your strategy is still going to be a 4 or a 5. Now imagine you had them all leveled up to a 10 out of 10. Clarity, discipline, and strategy. Those are the 3 pillars. If you learn nothing else tonight, knowing that clarity, discipline, and strategy is the 3 pillars, that if you have those aligned, you will be massively successful. Again, it's not about another Facebook ad. It is about having the clarity, discipline, and strategy to know whether or not Facebook ads are even the right thing for you in the first place. I made a lot of money from Facebook ads in the fitness industry, but there was a time where they didn't matter. There was a time where I didn't make them work and still had profitable business. So it's not about the Facebook ad or the funnel. Everybody says these days they want a funnel. They don't even know what a funnel means. It just sounds pretty darn cool. And they've, tie the word funnel with hacking and it sounds 10x cool. But I'll tell you what, sometimes you don't need a 10x funnel. Now, what would it do for your business if you were able to increase your profits, double your profits in the next 90 days? If you were able to double your profits and work less, how would your marriage or your relationship with your kids change if you were working 15 fewer hours per week? That's crazy, right? Even if you're working 40 hours per week, you could work 10 fewer hours and still make more money. 30-hour work week. When was the last time you had a 30-hour work week? I'll tell you what, I had one 2 weeks ago. It was absolutely fantastic. One of the best weeks of my adult life. Now, how would your life change if you had a proven strategy to consistently grow your income while working less and having the accountability and structure you needed to implement it? Okay. Accountability, that word right there, so important. If you don't have accountability in your life, you're missing out on the secret ingredient. Now, here's the thing. There's a secret ingredient to the secret ingredient. If you have accountability to somebody that you deeply do not want to disappoint, whether that's a mentor, a coach, a teacher, an old teacher, a friend, your parents, your husband, your wife, your brother-in-law, somebody that you deeply do not want to disappoint, you have accountability to them. You have to check in, you have to tell them what you've done, you have to show them your work. And if you don't want to disappoint them, you're going to do more in less time than ever before. So that word, accountability, is so darn key. Now that brings us to, after we've done a tune-up and made more money, it brings us to another fork in the road. You have a choice. Again, you can keep doing what you've always done. It got you so far, didn't get you everywhere that you wanted to in life. But there's a whole lot more that you can get out of this. So you can try all the new hacks and stuff like that. And again, it's not about the shiny object. It's about the foundations. And the foundations you get, clarity, discipline, strategy, are from investing in yourself and getting proven systems and formulas that have already worked for hundreds of entrepreneurs. I mean, that's the whole. You want to get a mentor who's been there, done that, achieved what you want to achieve. Been there, done that, achieved what you want to achieve, both personally and professionally. So here's what we're going to do. Structure, discipline, clarity is what you need. But if you don't have accountability to get that structure, discipline, and clarity, then listen, you can have all the information in the world. All the information is available on YouTube. But if you don't have it, then you probably won't follow through and get the most out of it. And you're riding that roller coaster, okay? Listen, as an entrepreneur, we're all riding the roller coaster, the ups and downs every single day. And if you are doing that on your own, suffering in silence, you're probably working too much, you're struggling with anxiety, possibly depression. I had so much anxiety that, dang, it is just so difficult to concentrate. Your business is out of control. Maybe you don't have enough time with your family. I call it the golden handcuffs. The lost warrior is often also having golden handcuffs, not making the money they want. And, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker is we all know entrepreneurs. Maybe it's a real estate agent. Maybe it's a author. Maybe it's a course creator. Maybe it's a gym owner. And you look at them and you go, how the heck are you more successful than me? And it's not about book smarts. If it was about book smarts, I'd be even wealthier, but it's not about book smarts. Street smarts can get you a long, long way. But clarity combined with discipline gives you the best strategy. And the next thing you know, it's really just like putting a paint by numbers formula together. So the clarity is what matters. And that allows you to build that team so that you don't have to do all of the work. All right. So what I want you to understand, listen, I'm not 100% sure why you showed up. What was the thing that made you take the time, make the time for tonight? And was it that the business is out of control? You're suffering from the first world problem of too much revenue, but not enough profit. You are working too many hours. You don't have the team that you want to go to the next level. What is it that you're still struggling with, right? Being stuck and struggling and just not getting everything that you need, not making the money that you desire and deserve. I don't know exactly what it was that brought you here, that got you in that frustrated state. But I'll tell you what, working harder and working longer hours, I found out the hard way, is not enough. Put myself in the emergency room twice, and I don't want that to happen to you. I want to give you clarity, and the clarity starts with, what's that 10x, right? What is God's 10x plan for you? What is the universe's 10x plan for you? Look at all the talents and gifts that you have. What were you meant to do with those things? So answer that to get clarity, to start to get clarity. And then with the discipline, in terms of discipline, it's all about discipline through subtraction. What do you need to remove from your life so that you can be more automatically successful? It's not about becoming the next Jocko Willink and getting up at 3:45 a.m. and saying roll call and all that stuff. No. Listen, if you've got a problem with alcohol or chips or your iPhone, it's about removing those things, not about getting up and joining the 5 a.m. club. You don't have to go hardcore in order to be successful. So you take my weird approach to discipline, combine it with clarity, and now you know exactly what you need to do. And we build out that strategy so that you can put together everything you need into that step-by-step plan. That's what we want for you. Trying more things is not about the answer. Putting more time into it is not the answer. What we need to do is give you the right tools to succeed. Okay, so that's what we have in the Ballantyne method. The Ballantyne method, again, imagine 3 circles. Circle number 1, clarity. Circle number 2, discipline, and the all overlap. And then that allows you to build the perfect strategy so you know exactly what to do next. So I want you to stop thinking about the funnels and the Facebooks and all that stuff, because that's often too far advanced. Think more about the time that you might be wasting and losing on that. And think about how, instead of chasing the shiny objects, that you can double your profits by working less when you have the clarity, the structure, and the discipline working for you. Okay. So here's the thing, is that if a 6-year-old can put together this car, this Lego car, simply following instructions, just imagine what you can do with your business when you have the exact blueprint. And there's a whole lot of other ways of doing things. There's a whole lot of, do it yourself, figure things out. But listen, when I was struggling in my own business and personal life in 2006, I went and found a coach, someone who'd been there and done that, who achieved what I wanted to achieve, and who shared my morals and ethics and put me down the right path. And he did so through clarity. The very first thing that he did was that he asked me, where do you want to be in 5 years from now? And we used this to put together the roadmap for my life. It was really, I wanted to own a business like Early to Rise. And sure enough, he gave me the exact path. And in 5 years, 3 months, and 17 days, I achieved my dream, exact dream. In fact, I said I wanted to own a business like Early to Rise. And I actually achieved the business by getting the business of my dreams, Early to Rise, in the exact time frame. So when you use the Ballantyne method and you get the clarity, what you're going to do is you're going to get access to my values and vision and my 10X questions training. And we walk you through that. It's the same stuff that I use with Isabel. She paid me $25,000 for one single day to help her, but you'll get that crystal clarity a lot faster. The other things that we do, we help clients get results with what I call the 16 cash profit activators, which are the strategy component, so that you know exactly what to do. We have pre-done emails. We have the referral strategies, pre-written referral strategy methods, all of these things to do the work for you so that you generate the fast cash. Okay. I don't need you to go out and try and figure Facebook ads when I can show you exactly how to get a flood of clients and business really, really fast. So for example, I talked previously about a guy named Scott who owns a robotics company that cleans oil tankers. And in 10 minutes, I taught him about a referral strategy that allowed him to book a $300,000 cleaning contract. And then another client of mine, this guy, Paul, who owns an ocean degradable straw company. They also create compostable straw, paper plates and all this stuff. Well, he used one of my strategies to get a $500,000 contract as well. So all of these things are done for you and can be done without spending a dime on advertising, because I don't want you to go and spend a whole bunch of money on Facebook ads. And then another thing that we do is we teach you the 10 fewer hours. We show you how to make 10 hours. And if you can make 10 hours every week, work 10 fewer hours by stop doing what you hate and stop doing things that no one should be doing, and figuring out how to delegate what your job is. So, Justin, I know you're asking a lot of questions about this, and there's a way to, let me get the name right here. It's Mark from Just Live. Yeah, you're asking a lot of questions about making time, and I spend so much time on this in our trainings and in our courses. And when you jump on it, I'm not selling any course or anything tonight, but what I'm offering you is a chance to jump on a call with Ron, our coach, or one of our coaches, and have just a free little coaching call with him, and he'll be able to help you get clarity, work less, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a second. Now, the discipline part is, again, discipline through subtraction. It's not about discipline through you becoming the next Jocko Willink and having the roll call and the musters and all that stuff. You don't need to live that life in order to be successful. I've tried a lot of that stuff, and it's not conducive to your social life, to your family life, to your family holidays and your special events. You can still have a 7-figure, 8-figure business and not miss out on things. Frank, who I mentioned before, Frank Den Blanken, he's been to Singapore, Hawaii, Vegas, Florida, New York City, all over Europe, all over the place in the last year, while earning multi-millions and soon to be 8 figures. And so he has just done so many great things while not being super hardcore disciplined. Okay. In fact, he outsources more than I've ever seen anybody else outsource. When he's putting together stuff that he needs somebody else to do, he just makes screen capture videos from his computer and gives them, puts them in a library, gives them a good title, and then his team members can come along and study them. It's so simple to get rid of the tasks. And I'm going to help you build rock solid discipline using my unique approach. So now you have more time. Now you have more productivity. You have that to match up with your clarity. And now you're able to build this strategy. And you'll also get the ongoing accountability. We have a private Facebook for all of our clients. We have a couple of private Facebook groups. We have one for our social media. So if you have any social media questions, we can help you there. And then we have another one where we do our weekly Zoom training for our clients. I do an open Q&A. So I'll try to answer a few questions on this tonight, but we actually do a full hour every week where it's almost like private coaching for our clients to get access to it. Plus, we bring in a new expert who guides us through done-for-you materials every Monday night for our training. So we're always helping people get the exact resource they need to grow. But again, not selling the course tonight. All I'm giving you is a coaching call. So what I want you to do, if you're interested in this, if you're interested in getting a little bit more clarity, a little bit more discipline, a little bit better of a strategy, you're going to talk to one of my coaches. His name is Ron Mora. So go to theballantynemethod.com/call. You're going to schedule your call today. And remember this phrase: success loves speed, and research, actual research shows that the most successful entrepreneurs are the most decisive. So make that decision and make the big leap into your greatness, and just simply book a call today. You're going to go to that link, theballantynemethod.com/call. You're going to book a call with Ron, jump on the phone with him for an hour, get some great coaching, and then figure out what you want to do from there. So can I post the link? Yeah, absolutely. So theballantynemethod.com/call. That should be good to go. And that'll get you to Ron's calendar. That's it. We're not selling nothing. We just want you to get some quick results, because what I found is, in addition to the research showing that entrepreneurs who are successful are decisive, research shows that people who take fast action get the fastest results. This happens in weight loss. This happens in business. So, time is ticking, and I don't want you to miss out on this. Okay. Ron's calendar is limited. You can't take 100 calls. So you do want to get in there first come, first serve, and just jump on a call with Ron and see if it's a good fit. to get some great advice from him and then see if you want to do anything else after. All right. So jump on that call with Ron, theballantynemethod.com/call. David's already signed up. That's awesome. You're going to have a great connection with Ron. He's a Canadian as well, David. So you'll get really, really great stuff. All right. So, hey, gang, I'm a little bit over time. Really, really appreciated being here with you tonight. Mark, I hope we answered all your questions. Really, really appreciate you being here all the way from Holland. Really appreciate Frank being from Luxembourg. Really appreciate David being here from Toronto. We had Jamie from New Zealand. Thanks so much for being here, guys. We had Miguel from out there on the West Coast in BC. Really appreciate you, my friend. Looking forward to our next coaching call. We had Gwenda from Florida. So thanks so much. Really want to help you guys level up, whether you're in that Lost Warrior phase or whether you are in the business battler phase or empire builder. Just make sure, again, go to theballantynemethod.com. I'm putting that in the chat again, theballantynemethod.com/call. Jump on a call with Ron and let's make sure that we get you guys some results. Okay. So thank you so much, everybody. Really looking forward to chatting with you guys again, whether you're in one of our weekly trainings or one of our Facebook Lives or whatever we're going to do. We'll see you again soon, guys. Thanks so much and have a great day, night, morning, middle of the night, wherever you are. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.